So as of this posting, Hellboy's Rotten Tomato score is sitting at a hellacious 13%. And a lot of people are trying to compare it to Del Toro's classics from the early 2000s. With our real take, we're going to let you know whether it's really that bad and how this movie stacks up with its predecessors.
The Real Screeners are back, this time to give you our review of the new Hellboy, and we have a special guest joining us, Manny.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Of course, thank you for being on the show. We're reviewing Hellboy, directed by Neil Marshall, who is known for directing one of the greatest horror films in my mind, The Descent. So I was really excited to watch this movie to see how it stacks up to that horror film. Now we have David Harbour in the title role, and Milla Jovovich is joining the cast. This new Hellboy is more of a reboot and not really a continuation of the first two films, directed by Guillermo del Toro, which I happen to really enjoy those first two movies. Especially the first Hellboy. Unfortunately, this Hellboy doesn't quite match up, but we'll get to that in a second. In this film, we have basically, you know, Hellboy fighting some demons and monsters, and especially this crazy Blood Queen character played by Milla Jovovich. And of course, there's also this internal conflict that he's facing between his allegiance to the humans and his allegiance to the monster race, or whatever you want to call it.
She's trying to dupe him and get him to, you know, obviously she has her own axe to grind, right? So without getting into specifics, you know, she needs him to complete her master plan, and so she's trying to manipulate him and get him to see that, you know, humans are just using him and whatnot.
So, you know, while this film has some cool staged action scenes, unfortunately, story-wise, it's all over the place. The script is terrible, man. These one-liners that are terribly corny, and the movie has a lot of attempts at comedy that just fall really flat and fail miserably. And of course, let's not forget about the troubles with the editing. I mean, so many inconsistencies, you know? What did you think, Manny?
You know, this movie, I really had high hopes for it, but for the most part, I felt like I was watching like a cartoon. As far as the writing, it was like cartoon level writing. It wasn't that great, and the graphics didn't help.
That's right, yeah, you know, those special effects.
It reminded me of the first season of Spartacus, where the blood was so terrible. You know, it just...
Yeah, it's 2019. It broke immersion. You're like, okay.
You know, because I felt like that's what was going to save the movie for me, was the action, and it just... It didn't appease me.
Yeah, and the movie is very gory, you know, like surprisingly gory and grotesque, you know. And there are some cool, you know, scenes that exhibit some really nice makeup, actually.
Yes.
But as far as the blood
blood is what failed.
Yeah, very fake.
That's interesting because I kind of thought that aside from the makeup of Hellboy, that the makeup for me just kind of took me out of it. I kind of felt like it was very kind of Netflix level.
Really?
There's a witch who I thought was... to me was the best.
Well, that's what I was specifically referring to.
Okay.
Yeah, was that, what's her name? Baba Yaga?
Baba Yaga.
Yeah,
but other than that, I just thought it was so low,
she was
low budget.
The highlight of the movie for me.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes for sure. You know, like scary. You know, I liked
where that.
And
it was well acted. And
I liked how it delivered the horror elements in that scene, in that particular scene. There was another scene where they were fighting with these giants that I thought was pretty entertaining, action-wise.
Yeah, it was okay, but I kind of thought that the cinematography was a little too in your face and a little disorienting at times for me, but as far as like a fight scene, that was probably the best fight scene.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a couple of scenes that I enjoyed, because really I didn't enjoy anything about this movie other than those two scenes.
This movie really felt like they threw a whole lot of ideas at the wall, didn't wait for it to stick, and then just said, you know what, screw it, let's just roll with everything. I mean, there are way too many moving parts, like side characters, subplots, backstories. It was just a mess.
Yeah, and it definitely felt rushed too. Like some scenes were just, you can tell they threw it in there just to reach the next point. And
plot devices.
Yeah, definitely. And on top of that, Milla's acting was terrible. I know that in her previous movies, Resident Evil and The Fifth Element, there wasn't much dialogue, but they made it work. In this movie, not so great.
Yeah, and then her character was really one-dimensional, you know? It's like any villain that's poorly portrayed in a movie where she just kind of stands there and like uses her evil, malevolent voice.
Yeah, really, like I thought she
took a cartoon, like I said.
Yeah. She took a step back with her acting in this movie. I thought she was a little over-dramatic at some points, you know? It goes beyond the writing. And the writing was bad, obviously, we established that, right? But her acting, it's my girl Milla, I love that woman.
Yeah, and
you know, so sad to see this happen.
In The Fifth Element, she's so great. It's It's a shame. You know, and David Harbour, best known for his role as the cop in Stranger Things, right? I didn't really care for him in this role, man. I really liked Ron Perlman as Hellboy a lot more. I thought that this guy was kind of like slurring his speech a little bit and sounded like drunk a lot of the time. I mean, I know what he was going for, trying to be like funny, low key, but it didn't work for me.
It didn't work for you? It didn't bother me at all. Like, I had no problem with it. I thought he did well with what he had. Again, no problem for me.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, he wasn't great, but the one-liners just didn't help at all.
Oh yeah, of course, that's the writing, right?
That's what it goes back to.
It was so bad.
This movie has no rhyme or reason for existing is the thing. Like, there's nothing new here. You know, I really wish that Guillermo del Toro had done a third movie, you know?
Yeah, and being a newer movie in 2019, you would think the special effects, the techniques would be better, but holy moly, man, like, there's a scene with the giants, right? You were talking to me about that.
Yeah, and there's a scene where he axes someone's head and the blood is so bad, it looks like red aluminum foil and saran wrap in the wind. It's just that bad.
Like strawberry jelly.
So obviously it's no secret, this is not a 5-reel movie. In fact, it's more of a B-movie level type thing, something you'd see alongside Sharknado on Sci-Fi, although Sharknado is probably better.
That's right.
It lacks the compelling characters and the cohesive plot of the first Hellboy movie, and it also wastes the talents of Ian McShane, who a lot of us remember from John Wick. So poo-poo on that movie for doing that. So ultimately, how many reels do I give it? Give it the lowest I've ever given a movie since we started this channel. I'll give it 2 reels. 2. I'm being very, very gracious with that.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all, and I'm gonna give it 2.5 reels. And that half is because there were points in here where I felt that something was gonna happen. I had a little hope. There was a nice twist. I don't want to give too much away, but there was some backstabbing. And I thought, okay, here we go. It's about to get good. I just felt like they had something and they decided to go in another direction, and somebody just told someone they're fired and started all over again. It was just bad. But 2.5, I'll give it 2.5.
Okay, all right, Beto.
If you can't really get behind any characters, you can't really appreciate the action scenes. Then they don't matter, and so what's left? Nothing to care for. So I'm gonna agree with your rating actually. 2 reels.
Wow, I thought you'd give it fewer. Huh.
No, it's not that terrible. I think I gave The Nun 2.5 reels.
Yeah, we
so
did.
this is slightly below.
Absolutely do not waste your money in the theater watching this. Wait till it comes streaming on demand. And speaking of demand, I demand you go to the Alamo Draft House and watch any other movie besides this one. It's a beautiful place to be. Great food, great service. It's fantastic.
And as always, look us up on social media. We're at Facebook at Real Screeners and Instagram real.screeners.
And if you love these videos, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell button, keep updated because we got a lot coming.
And a lot of people are comparing it to Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro.
So as of this posting, Hellboy's... My brain is frying now. You can tell it's happening, right? It's like disintegrating.
It's beginning.
And on top of that,
with some butter.
And syrup.
And on top of that, the Blood Queen, what did I say? The Blood Queen was,
All right, Manny, what do you think?
Okay, do it again.
All right, Manny.
I didn't know he was going to go that fast.
All right, Manny,
That's
what
what
do you
she said.
think about this movie?
So I had to slip that in there.